boys and girls. Today I'm going to read you the story of Swimmy. And you aren't going to see my face today because I really want you to concentrate on the illustrations in this book. They are very special. Swimmy was written by Leo Leone, and Swimmy is a book about what kind of animal would you guess? Look at the cover and think of the hint, Swimmy. If you guessed a fish, you're right. Matter of fact, that little black fish on the cover, that's Swimmy. Okay, everybody get comfy, and I'm going to turn the pages and read the book. There's the cover page. Isn't that beautiful? It's a picture of the undersea. Look at the rocks, and this is seaweed. There's some red fish, and there's Swimmy. A happy school of little fish lived in a corner of the sea somewhere. They were all red. Only one of these fish was black. He was as black as a mussel shell. He swam faster than his brothers and sisters. His name was... What was his name? Do you remember? His name was Swimmy. One bad day, tuna fish, swift, fierce, and very hungry, came darting through the waves. In one gulp, he swallowed all the little red fish. Only Swimmy escaped. He swam away in the deep, wet world. He was scared, lonely, and very sad. But the sea was full of wonderful creatures, and as he swam from marvel to marvel, Swimmy was happy again. He saw a Medusa made of rainbow jelly. We call that a jellyfish, right? It almost looks like these pictures were finger painted. He saw a lobster who walked about like a water-moving machine. Have you ever seen a lobster before? Strange fish pulled by an invisible thread. A forest of seaweed growing from sugar candy rocks. See all that seaweed? Sometimes when we go to the beach, we see seaweed laying on the sand that has washed up. What is this animal? Do you know what you call an underwater snake? It's an eel whose tail was almost too far away to remember. Look how long and narrow they are. And sea anemones who looked like pink palm trees swaying in the wind. I think this might be a starfish over here. And that might be a starfish too. There are all different kinds of interesting plants and animals under the ocean. Then, hidden in the dark shade of rocks and weeds, he saw a school of little fish, just like his own school of fish. Remember the red fish he used to swim with? Let's go and swim and play and see things, he said happily. We can't, said the little fish. The big fish will eat us all. But you can't just lie there, said Swimmy. We must think of something. And he didn't like the idea that all the fish were hiding. He thought they should not be scared and go out and play. Swimmy thought and thought and thought. Then suddenly he said, I have it. We are going to swim all together like the biggest fish in the sea. They're going to swim together. Look at that. Starting to look like a fish. He taught them to swim close together, each in his own place. Is that starting to look like the head of a fish? And then maybe over here the tail? So he's getting them to all swim in formation together. Wow, they do look like a big fish, don't they? And when they had learned to swim like a giant fish, he said, I'll be the eye. There he is. He's making the eye of the fish. And so they swam in the cool morning water and in the midday sun, and they chased the big fish away. The end. I think they had to practice a lot, didn't they, to swim together to look like a fish. Let's go back and look at that picture. My goodness. That would take some practice, wouldn't it, to swim all together? But it worked, didn't it? It tricked the big fish, and the little red fish got to swim around and be happy in that beautiful ocean. You know, boys and girls, that's a lot like people. Think about how much fun we had at school when we all worked together. We could solve problems and do things much easier when we worked together. Remember when we would have a giant mess on the rug with the blocks and the Legos and the cars? Remember that? And Mrs. Mooney would say, okay, everybody, clean up. And everyone would work together to solve the problem of the messy blocks. So that's an important thing to remember, something that we learned in pre-K 3. We learned when we all work together, it makes things easier. That's the same thing the little red fish learned. They all worked together to make their life easier, and they were so happy when they did because they got to swim around in the beautiful big ocean. All right, boys and girls, see you later. Goodbye.